This podcast contains graphic content. Listener caution is recommended. Specifically, today's episode of Choosing the Bear contains themes and discussion of substance abuse, rape, sexual assault, and murder. Hello, welcome to Choosing the Bear, a true crime podcast. My name is Lois, and with me is my co-host / brother Daniel. Today's episode is about Stephen Port, the Grindr killer. Here we are, Daniel. It's episode 10.
It's double digits. It's time to get cereal.
Yes, we said that in the outro last episode.
We did, not because I just listened to it 10 minutes ago to work out what we'd promised this episode. And that promise was an outro. And that promise has been made.
Yeah, we're fulfilling our promises because last episode I explained why we called the pod Choosing the Bear Pod.
And then at the end of the episode we said we're going to have an outro. And we now have one.
And last episode we said we were going to do a serial killer case. And now we are.
So you can't say shit. We make a promise. We keep that promise, all right?
So if you've got a problem, you can just shut the fuck up.
Fuck off.
So how's your week been? It's Friday today and I've been off work.
We're back Fridaying it. Yeah, it's been nice. I'll say it's been nice. It's been busy. I've been really jumping through hoops with work this week. So busy week, strenuous week. Mentally, I'm whacked. I'm on the floor. I'm dead. But I've always got time for a little podcast.
Of course.
Yeah, no, but I'm okay. I'm okay.
I am someone who's going to be okay.
What's that from?
I don't know.
Oh, I thought it was from something.
Not that I know of.
I'm going to be someone that's going to be okay. That's from something, is it not?
Who?
I don't know. Is it not from a TikTok or something? I might be a TikTok. Tickety-tockety.
I've probably seen it on the Tick of the Talk, but...
Check out the talk.
So, what happened on Wednesday, Daniel?
I don't know. What did happen on Wednesday?
Are you being sarcastic right now?
Yeah, of course. I had a Chinese on Wednesday, obviously.
Yeah, and what else happened?
Oh my God, you don't understand.
Daniel, the suspense is killing the listeners.
Yeah. Fucking Daredevil come out. Of course it fucking did.
There we are.
Woo!
We had a little watch party.
Watch party.
I had a veggie buttermilk burger, some chips and some mac and cheese.
Cheese.
It was it was lovely. Well, you had a Chinese and then...
I had a Chinese and I didn't even eat it. The episode started and I just sat there. It sounds so sad, but I wasn't even grabbing the food. I was just glued into the TV. My eyes were square because I was looking at the TV.
Fuck the food, you were glued.
I said, fuck the food because I'm glued. And, it was a fun time. I was very happy that evening.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but I just can't be arsed waiting week by week I can't be arsed waiting weekly for an episode.
I know, I hate it. But then it gives you something to look forward to, doesn't it? Much like this podcast and people who watch and listen to this, if they are out there, something to look forward to every week.
Exactly, girlies. Every Monday at 9 a.m, you can come and listen to us.
Just chat.
Just have a chit-chat.
A chin wag. Do you know, if you write that down right, that's actually such a funny saying, chin wag. Because if you think about the chin, it's actually when you talk, it moves and it's wagging. I like that a lot. When you're grabbing your chin now, it's actually going to wag.
Do you have a bum chin or a cherry chin?
I did this the other day, actually. How weird.
Is this a well-known thing, though? Because I said to my boyfriend, you got a bum chin or a cherry chin? And he was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I think I've got a bum chin.
I've got a cherry. For people who don't know, it's like when you squish your chin together, and if you get a little crease, you got a bum, and
you got an ass.
And then if you get nothing, then you got a cherry.
Yeah,
I've got a cherry.
And absolutely pointless fact, but and there was when you, what was it? If you shone that flower, not shone, but you put that flower under your chin, and it glowed yellow, you liked butter.
What the fuck? I've never heard of that.
Oh my God, it was there was a yellow flower I can't remember what it was called now. But if you put it under your chin, everyone at primary school was doing this. Put it under your chin, and if it like glows, if there's a light yellow on your under your chin, it means you like butter.
What the fuck? I have never heard of that.
That's actually mad. We went to the same fucking school.
Yeah, but clearly
We're all doing it in the playground.
Childish fucking game.
We're all sat under the tree, plucking flowers and putting under our chins. We're all there.
I weren't.
Well, yeah, we weren't in the same year.
True say.
Anyway.
You got me there.
Yep. There we are.
Have we got anything else to discuss before we proceed? Because we're only like 5 minutes in.
Oh, wow. I don't think so. Just up front, these two episodes, 10, 11, are back-to-back filming.
Oh,
because, you know, you want to... I think if we're doing, like, a part series, you don't want to start next week and me being like, so what's happened? Where are we? You know, so, like, these cases that take longer will most likely be filmed, you know, back-to-back. So the stories and stuff, you know, let's pretend they are a week apart. As in the stories from us, not the actual case.
And also we want to get back in front of like uploading, recording sketch, because today's Friday and this I need to edit ready for Monday.
It's currently Friday the 7th of March at 6:45
PM.
PM.
In the Big Brother house.
Actually, I hate that guy's voice.
I heard from the streets that, oh my God, you know, I was so embarrassed. I remember I was going through like our group chat on Instagram, and you sent in something about Wicked or Wizard of Oz, and you said, God, I can't believe that Nessa Rose becomes Dorothy. So the context of that is, I literally swear to God for probably about 2 months that I saw on Twitter, because I've never watched Wicked. I watched Wizard of Oz when I was like a child, but I swear to God, I've seen people saying, I'm so glad like Nessa Rose turns into Dorothy and like the house lands on her and that she dies or whatever. And then I'd always say to Daniel, like, oh my God, like Nessa Rose turns into Dorothy, and you were like, no, she fucking don't. And then I've got screenshots of our text messages, and you're like, and I'm like, oh, so I know that like this person turns into Scarecrow and this person turns into the Tin Man, and then I'm like, so Nessa turns into Dorothy, and you're like, no, she doesn't.
You don't understand like the stress I had of like just being able to work it out, because you're like, well, the house lands on her, then she becomes Dorothy. Like, yeah, but it's Dorothy's house that lands on the witch, and you're like, yeah, and I'm like, well, yeah. So she can't be fucking Dorothy, because if Dorothy's house is on her and Dorothy's looking at the house, it can't be Dorothy. You're like, what? That makes sense though.
Do you remember when I used to say I didn't understand the concept of people judging, because how can people judge us if they know who we are?
So
I
fucking
was such a
annoying as
philosopher.
No, you weren't. You're a twat. Just so that you got to turn that down. You essentially just inhaled the mic when you laughed just then. That was insane. That was so fucking loud. Nah, like you'd just be one of them kids that would be so annoying to be around at times. Oh, we need to eat. Why? Because
oh my God, I was gonna say, do you remember when he used to ask why? Like,
because we don't want to die. Why? Fucking shut up.
What a cynical little child. Yeah, if I was to like look after younger me, I would. Yeah, I'd be to the end of my tether. Let's put it that way. Anywho, should we glide over to the case that we have today?
Let's get into it. Episode 10. We're getting cereal.
Correct. So yeah, if you hear any background noise, my apologies. But as you would have heard from the introduction, or like the trigger warning at the start, this case heavily includes sexual assault and rape. So it is not going to, it's, as they all are, it's going to be a horrendous journey. So
yeah, and if any of those things trigger you, by all means, skip the episode.
Yep, we have 9 other ones that you could listen to if you still want a dose of true crime. I have like a somewhat little intro I've written for this. Okay. The dangers of social media and dating sites are never ending, from being catfished, groomed or scammed, etc. Sometimes these nightmares can escalate even further, leading for those who intended to have a fun night, resulting in death. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Anywho.
I think so.
So this one, I started And then I found like court documents and I was like, because I found so much more information that was not of Abe's or like written in other articles. So it's going to be a big one. So on the 19th of June 2014, a man calls 999 asking for an ambulance. They had discovered a male body at the front of their apartment complex. The ambulance service arrived just after 8 a.m. 23-year-old Anthony Walgate is pronounced dead. His body is examined. He had died after a small overdose of the drug GHB, commonly known as a date rape drug. A small bottle of GHB would be found in Anthony's pocket. The morning of the 28th of August 2014, another male body would be found. 22-year-old Gabriel Cavari's body would be found sitting against a church wall in Barking Abbey in the London borough of Barking and Dagenham. In parallel to Anthony, Gabriel was found with a small bottle of GHB in his pocket and had also died due to an overdose of GHB. 23-year-old Daniel Wentworth's body would also be discovered in Barking Abbey in the same place and position Gabriel's body had been dumped in. Daniel had a bottle of GHB in his pocket and had died as a result of an overdose of GHB. However, Daniel had a note next to his body explaining how he had chosen to kill himself by taking an overdose. He also stated that he felt so guilty for causing Gabriel to fatally overdose. I couldn't find what date Daniel's body had been discovered, but I think it would have been either the 19th, 20th, or possibly the 21st of September 2014. Jack Taylor was 25 years old and his body was also discovered in Barking Abbey, not far from where Daniel and Gabriel's body were also discovered. Like the rest of the victims, Jack was found with a bottle of GHB in his pocket and had died as a result of an overdose on GHB. So, are you noticing a pattern? Because the police did not notice a pattern until it was way too late. Were you going to say something?
Are you joking?
No.
They didn't notice a pattern?
Nope.
It's like a calling card. The bottle of GBH.
And they've all died from a fatal overdose of GHB.
And the bottle being left in the pocket.
And they're all men. They're all kind of like in the same age category. And they're all similar characteristic that they all have, being that they're all gay men.
Mm-hmm. Well, they all link up. Again, it's easy for us to say that there's a pattern now because we're looking at it from
it is
the
like
retrospect.
hindsight.
However, I feel like that's still something that would be connected.
Yeah. It is absolutely insane that the police or like people were discovering these bodies and the police were like, yeah, they're not linked. And it gets worse. I'll just say that because people bring it up to the police and they're like, no. Gabriel had a friend that he used to live with called John. After Gabriel had been found dead, John discovered that 2 other men had been found dead in the same area under unexplained circumstances. John would then receive a message from someone named Stephen Port. He said he had information about Gabriel. Stephen said that Gabriel was seen with Daniel Wentworth to parties known as chemsex parties. Quote, young boys, loads of drugs provided by older guys. They take advantage of the young ones when they've passed out. One collapsed and when they woke up, one was fucking him. They said they last 3 days non-stop and they give them shots and dope and coke inside. With this message and after seeing that other bodies with unexplained deaths had been discovered, John went to the police with his concerns, wanting to be heard, people are dying. But the police just reiterated that the deaths were not being treated as suspicious. This would be detrimental. More people would be assaulted and 2 more men would lose their life at the hands of Stephen Port, the Grindr killer. It's
basically another case of the system being shit. And if they had their act together earlier, things could have been prevented. I mean, you can say that about a lot of them, but in this instance now, you know, there's clearly a pattern being formed already, and they're not treating that as a fact. They're going, yeah, well, it's not suspicious. But there is something linking already. That the bottle in the pocket, for me, is a big one that just sort of stands out.
It's just so frustrating. So, who is Stephen Port? Stephen John Port was born on the 22nd of February 1975 in Southend-on-Sea, Essex, England. When Stephen was about a year old, him and his family moved to Dagenham in East London, around 50 minutes away from Southend-on-Sea. During his childhood, Stephen was bullied at school and was described as a loner and quiet. One of his neighbours recalled seeing him playing with children's toys and as an adult and having a childlike personality. A former romantic partner said he ended the relationship with Stephen due to his childish personality. Stephen left school at 16 years old and began pursuing an education in art. However, the college fees would be too expensive for his family to keep up with. Stephen then trained 2 years to become a chef and appeared on MasterChef in 2014. And Stephen came out as gay in his mid-20s. Stephen would continue to live with his parents until he was 31 in 2006 and then moved to Barking, London. Stephen found a job as a chef at a Stagecoach, which is like a brand of... not a brand, but like a bus company. Yeah. At a Stagecoach bus depot in West Ham. At this time, Stephen would be of an athletic build and was bold. However, he would wear a toupee because his hairline was... and I'm going to diss this man because he's a piece of shit. His hairline... Jesus Christ. Horrific. So he wore a toupee. This increased his confidence when meeting men. As Port was now in the privacy of his own home, he began using online LGBTQI+ social networks as well as dating hookup apps. In his bio, Stephen claimed that he was previously in the Royal Navy and had graduated from Oxford University. In another profile, he stated that he was a special needs teacher. To drug his victims, Stephen used the date rape drug gamma... oh my god, I should have looked up how to pronounce this. Hydroxybutyric acid, also known as GHB. Now it's time for a little science lesson as I give a brief overview of the effects of GHB and other drugs that Stephen used.
Okay, strap in.
GHB is taken by mixing a small amount into a drink which hides the taste, and if it is taken orally without being placed into a drink, it can cause severe chemical burns. So...
wow.
What the fuck?
So the liquid of the drink nullifies the potential of a fatal burn.
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't like dilute it in a drink, then it can cause chemical burns in your mouth, which is horrendous.
Oh my god.
GHB can make a user feel euphoric, drowsy, relaxed, and have an increase in their libido. It is extremely common for users to pass out. GHB also interferes with blood circulation, balance, speech control, and reduces heart rate and respiration. It is very, very easy to overdose on GHB. It only takes a small amount that can cause someone to become unconscious or die. As well as GHB, Stephen also used Viagra, crystal meth, and poppers. Side effects of Viagra can be insomnia, blurred vision, and nosebleeds. Crystal meth can cause people to feel paranoid, confused, aroused, awake, and alert. Crystal meth also increases heart rate and blood pressure, leading to an increased risk of a heart attack. Poppers, aka amyl nitrate, affects the body by increasing blood flow to different parts of the body, potentially causing headaches, nosebleeds, and chest pains. Yeah.
So he's got a whole arsenal there.
Yep. One of these drugs alone can be fatal, let alone if they're mixed with one another or all of them combined. With the majority of drugs increasing blood flow and pressure, the victims would be at an extreme risk of a heart attack or stroke. However, with the GHB making them unconscious, their symptoms may have gone unnoticed. Not that Stephen would have got their medical help anyway. He had an intent to kill no matter how his victim died. So, literally drugging people, like GHB alone is so dangerous, and like it's so easy to overdose on that to like become unconscious or die, let alone when you mix in fucking crystal meth and poppers and all this other shit with it as well. Stephen would invite the victims to his home with the intentions of hooking up, getting to know each other and forming a friendship, but Stephen had more sinister intentions. So the victims that are called like victim A and B, etc, because there's a lot, the information that I found from court documents. So these I hadn't found in like like news sources. So this is where I got this information from. So, known as Victim A, a 19-year-old uni student made contact with Stephen via the gay dating site Grindr. A went to Stephen's flat and the pair would begin chatting and just hanging out. A was then given a glass of red wine. When it was too late, A noticed powder at the bottom of the glass. A began to feel disorientated and couldn't balance properly or even think straight. At some point, A lost consciousness. He had been taken to the bedroom, undressed, and then raped by Stephen. A sought medical advice as he had correctly believed that he had been drugged. He also reported the incident to the police, but I couldn't be sure if it was not long after it had happened or once Stephen was arrested for murder charges. So I don't know if he reported it like as it happened or like once it all came out that he was like a murderer.
Yeah. But there's no actual evidence on when his report took place.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
okay,
I couldn't find like definitive info about that.
This whole thing, like the idea of like drugging someone to then, you know, mutilate them and abuse them is absolutely fucking horrific, man. It's fully stripping away a person's power and their agency within their own body. Oh man, I could never imagine. It must be genuinely horrific.
Victim B was aged 20 and also met Stephen through a gay dating website in June 2014. Stephen offered B a non-alcoholic drink and he accepted the offer. B was immediately unconscious. When B began coming back around, he said he felt like he had no control over his body. He was shouting and screaming for help. Stephen decided to take him to what I believe was Barking, either bus or train station, but I couldn't confirm what one. B captured the attention of a transport police officer and was confused, distressed and unsteady. If this wasn't concerning enough, B was vomiting and it was green. Stephen explained to the officer that B had taken G, presumably referring to GHB. B couldn't definitively say if he had been raped there, but Stephen would be charged with administering a substance with intent. I couldn't confirm if this was before Stephen was tried for murder charges or if this was a separate trial before he had committed his first murder. Stephen's first murder victim will be 23-year-old named Anthony Walgate. Anthony, who was originally from Hull, was a fashion student and occasionally worked as an escort. His friends said that Anthony didn't have the best money managing skills, so he would escort from time to time. But he would take all the precautions possible to stay as safe as possible. He would ensure he got the client's address and picture of them so that he could let his friends know where and who he was going to meet. In court, it was said that Anthony had a deep passion for fashion. He had dreams of becoming a famous designer. Anthony's mother would describe him as, quote, clever, funny and talented. Stephen met Anthony on a gay website. I would presume an escorting one, but I'm uncertain for sure.
I just hate hearing about like their aspirations and shit. Because it's like, oh, he had dreams of being a really good fashion designer. And he could have done that maybe, potentially. But instead it was taken away from him. So it's this horrible sort of dream that never, you know for a fact, was never achieved because of someone else's actions. Really horrible sort of like thing to sort of hone in on in that instance there. But it just makes you real fucking sad that, you know, like everyone else, they had dreams and aspirations, and then, you know, he was at uni, he was following that dream and then taken away.
Yep. Stephen invited Anthony round and offered £800 to Anthony for his services, even though Stephen had no savings or any money that he had to pay for that session. Anthony arrived at Barking Station just before 10:15 p.m. Stephen would meet him here to go back to his flat. This is where an absolute nightmare would unfold. Port drugged Anthony with a dose of GHB and then raped him. Stephen would give Anthony a fatal dose of GHB, which ultimately resulted in his death. When Anthony's body was examined, pathologists couldn't determine exactly when Anthony died. In court documents, I seen that Stephen went to work on a late shift the next day, presuming the day after he booked Anthony's services. So Anthony's body would have already started decomposing by the time his body would even be discovered, let alone examined. So like making it harder to determine a cause of death. But also just going to work, cooking people's food at a fucking bus station when you've got someone's dead body, like someone's child, someone's friend, just someone in your flat dead because you killed them.
It's a classic sort of trope of a psychopath serial killer, isn't it, where they just commit that horrendous act and then carry on with everyday normal oh my god, I'm so sorry. Everyday normal activities. It's terrifying because it just shows that not to put the fear of God in anyone, but you never know who you're around. You know,
No.
there could always be these sinister thoughts within the most mundane sort of looking person.
There was like statistics, I can't remember, but it said like someone is set to walk past, say, like 3 murderers in their lifetimes. Like something like that. I don't know if it's 3, but you are set to walk past like a number of
To be
murders
honest,
in your
I
lifetime.
thought it'd be more.
Yeah, I don't know how many it is. But still, that's fucking wild. Like, people, like,
Yeah.
they live among us.
Mm-hmm.
On the morning of the 19th of June 2014, Stephen dragged Anthony's body out to the front of his apartment complex and placed a bottle of GHB in Anthony's pocket. I mean, what the fuck? Just, like, how did he not think that through? And, like, this isn't even how he gets caught, 'cause this is his first murder victim. But, like, how do you feel confident and cocky enough to just drag someone's dead body out of your flat and dump them at the entrance of your flat?
It's a thing about confidence, like you say. If you're so confident, you can sort of conquer a lot of things. If you block out any doubt, your brain will just sort of like hyper focus on the task you want to do, and it will just do it. The brain's such a powerful thing, I think. No, but you
Like,
can't
how would you not be
yeah.
like, oh my god, someone might see me?
God,
It's just bizarre.
Yeah.
Stephen then called an ambulance from his phone, claiming he was driving past and seen a young boy who had, quote, collapsed or had a seizure or was drunk. Stephen didn't provide his name on the call, and once the call was finished, he returned to his flat. The ambulance service pronounced Anthony dead at 8 a.m. that morning. 2 sources said that police seized Stephen's laptop in the wake of Anthony's death, but wouldn't be analysed for 10 whole ass months.
And why not?
I think I have it. I did write this like a couple of weeks ago, so I don't remember everything. But I think if this is wrong, then I'll cut this out. But I think one of the families said like, you should analyse that. And they were like, no, it takes up too much resources. Like, it takes up too much time and too much money.
Oh, for fuck's
So they're literally
sake.
putting a price tag on someone's fucking life.
Yeah, of course they are.
The laptop contained hundreds of thousands of lines of, I've just lost my spot, of messaging about sex, pornography and drug taking. Detective Inspector Mark Richards said that, quote, he was obsessed. He had a real obsession with drug, rape, pornography. It is later revealed that Stephen would still be viewing the material once the victim had arrived at his flat. So if they, like, fucking did their job and analysed the laptop, then they would have seen that he is, like, how do I say it? Like, distorted.
Disturbed.
Like, he has a distorted view on, like, sex and stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, drug rape. And then and then Anthony's body was found with GHB, a drug rape.
Yeah, exactly.
Drug.
You could link the two together.
Date rape drug.
You know, yeah. Work it out and be like, oh, actually, he's looked into this. He was found with that drug. Maybe there's a connection. But again, but we know for a fact already they don't find a connection after 3 so far, I feel.
There is, I can't remember how many.
As in, like,
there
up to
are.
this point we've had right now in this conversation.
Oh, this is the first murder, but there was 2 other assaults.
Yeah, yeah.
But again, I don't know if they reported that at the time or after he
Yes.
came out as a serial killer. So
I'm with you.
on the 13th of June 2014, Stephen first came across Anthony's profile on an escorting website. A few minutes later, he searched for different videos on Google and pornography websites. He searched, quote, sleeping boy, unconscious boys, drugged and raped, taking date rape drug, gay teen knocked out, raped, and guy raped and tortured young nude boy. I seen in an article by The Guardian that Stephen was, quote, expressing a sexual preference for young boyish looking men he called twinks. They also said, quote, Port's fetish for sex was drugged young men, had graduated to a fixation and fixation to compulsion. Oof. It's heavy, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it really is.
I think, like, I mean, I'm no, like, tech person, so I don't really know how things would go about this, but someone who was advanced in tech would surely have an idea, i.e. the people who run the fucking government. Like, how is there not like an alert for when people search up shit like that?
You think there would be, but it then comes into, I guess, like the whole control aspect of people being like, because I remember ages ago, I was thinking about this the other week about CCTV and how if there was more CCTV around, we could stop a lot more crimes because we'd have more footage of it all. And then the counter argument to that is, but then it's like, yeah, but we're being watched, then I can't, I don't feel secure. But then the point of the camera is to, I can understand the feeling of being watched, sure, but like, if you're not up to no good,
well, yeah,
you should be fine. Do you know what I mean? But then I understand there's a privacy thing, but also I don't know. I feel like more cameras on like street corners and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like that could help more. That sort of went off a bit of a tangent about what your point was. But yeah, no, going back to it, people could view it as like a security measure. But if you're searching words like what he was, that should get a flag. I don't know. I think because you saw
the 999 call that was placed would be traced to Stephen. He was then questioned by police. He explained the same story that he had stated when he called 999, that he just stumbled upon Anthony's body. He was questioned for a second time, and Stephen then admitted that he had met Anthony on a dating app. When Stephen was later interviewed by police, he would claim that Anthony died after a self-administered drug overdose. Stephen then, in panic, moved his body to the front of the apartment complex. Due to Stephen's story constantly changing, he would be charged with perverting the course of justice and received a small prison sentence. So even then he was fucking, like, I give up. Even then he was sentenced. He was questioned like twice, changed his story, claimed that Anthony like overdosed himself. And they just, oh my God, it's just so frustrating.
It's one of them where, in retrospect, we can see it all and see the fucking errors of their ways. And that's what makes it so much more infuriating, that you can see the signs now. But then again, also from their point of view, the signs were also there. They just weren't looking hard enough. Mm-hmm.
I just cannot imagine how frustrating, I mean, we have already like touched a little bit on John, Gabriel's friend, but like he went to the police, like we'll get to it, but he went to the police like numerous times and stuff like that, and it just nothing. I cannot begin to comprehend how frustrating it must, like, frustrating isn't even the right word, but to try and fight for just basic police work. Oh yeah, here we go. This is what I mentioned earlier. Stephen's computer was seized by police, but it wasn't examined. If they would have found all the disturbing, concerning searches that he made minutes after coming across Anthony's escorting profile. One of Anthony's university friends, China, said, quote, "I'd be like, have you looked through his laptop?" And they'd be like, it's a really expensive procedure to do that. Another friend, Kira, said, quote, "They fobbed us off constantly. They kept saying, we're going to do it, and they didn't. Every time we phoned the police officer at the time who was dealing with us, he would either not be there or someone would take a message and he'd never call back."
I don't know why they're running it like it's a fucking call centre. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll call you back. You're the fucking police. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
It's your fucking job.
Yeah. And like, oh yeah, we'll take a message. Like you're in a hotel or some shit. Like this is people's livelihoods and stuff, and your fucking ignorance and neglect is ruining that. And I don't understand why you'd be in the police. I mean, again, I don't know. I've not done this job. I can't speak for it. Maybe there was some shit they had to do. I don't know.
But this is not a job that you can half-arse.
Yeah, exactly. A basic callback to notify friends/family of a murder victim. Surely that should be a,
priority.
Done. Yeah.
They're like, when you're dealing with people's lives and death, you can't be like, oh yeah, I'll call you back. Oh yeah, I'm not here. It's your fucking job. And also, this is people's lives, and this is someone who's lost their life.
Yeah.
And more people are going to lose their lives because of your fucking neglect.
Incompetence.
As well as seizing his laptop, they also took a DNA sample from him. This is absolutely wild that the police had a DNA sample and still didn't/couldn't link him to the other 3 murders that he would go on to commit.
I think what's terrifying about that then is that he's probably aware of that, right? He's aware that they'd have a DNA sample of him.
Yeah. Yeah, because you would have to consent to give you DNA.
And yeah. So then the fact he didn't then get, attached to the murder probably gave him a massive fucking confidence boost to be like, oh, I can do this shit again. They've got bang on evidence on me, and they've not pinned me for it. So why don't it's like an open invitation essentially for him.
It would actually go to his head being like, oh, well, I've got away with it. I've got away with it. And now they've got my laptop. They're doing fuck all about that. They've got my DNA. They're not linking it. So literally what is stopping him?
They don't care, yeah.
Gabriel Kovari was 22 years old and was born in Slovakia. He moved to London when he was 22. Gabriel intended on getting a job as a translator for the NHS or Metropolitan Police. And I just think that's really sad how he was going to serve for the police and then the police later let him down.
Yeah.
Or the NHS. I mean, but not that the NHS made any faults, but
yeah, regardless, he was going to go into that line of work.
Yeah.
And that line of work then failed him.
He had previously lived with his friend John, who plays a big part in this case. Gabriel and John had met online after he was looking for a room to rent. Gabriel lived with John for 6 weeks until Gabriel announced he was leaving on the 23rd of August. Gabriel would then move into Stephen Port's flat on the 23rd of August 2014. On the 24th, Stephen messaged one of his friends and asked him to come and meet, quote, his new Slovakian twink flatmate. He also told the friend that he was, quote, taking good care of Gabriel. Gabriel told his friends that he would sleep on the sofa and he didn't want to sleep in the same bed as Stephen. I keep losing my spot because this spot's funky. On the 25th of August, Stephen would drug Gabriel with GHB and possibly other drugs and rape him. The amount of drugs he gave Gabriel would cause him to fatally overdose. On the 26th of August, Stephen changed his phone number and told his friends that, surprisingly, Gabriel had left his flat claiming that he had gone to Spain. It's thought that Gabriel's body stayed in Stephen's flat for a few days as his body wouldn't be discovered until the 28th of August. He was found in the church ground of Barking Abbey, sitting against a wall with a bottle of GHB in his pocket. Barking Abbey is within 500 metres of Stephen's flat. Not long after, police arrived at John's flat to inform him of Gabriel's passing. However, he began to conduct his own investigation as his death didn't make sense to him. He begins to find other men who had died of unexplained circumstances in the same area. John contacted Gabriel's boyfriend to discuss Gabriel's death and discovered a third man had died of unexplained circumstances. John began suspecting the deaths weren't unexplained and that they were all connected. Gabriel's boyfriend then receives a message from Stephen Port but was using a false name. He claimed he knew Gabriel and informed him of the parties and that Daniel Wentworth was seen there with Gabriel. The parties are known as chemsex parties. With all of this information and concerns, John went to the police and hit a brick wall as he wasn't the next of kin. John contacted 2 LGBTQIA+ magazines that had contacts with the police. They brought their concerns to the police and they reiterated once again that the deaths were not suspicious. As the police, astoundingly, could not see what was right in front of them, 2 more men would die and 6 more assaults would take place. And this is where we're going to end for part 1.
Oh yeah, a bit of a cliffhanger there. Just a quick note to end on that one. It's like a fucking, I don't know, fiction. The way he's leaving the bodies in places, leaving this one in a fucking graveyard.
Oh god, it's horrendous.
So fucked. And then just popping the bottle of GHB in there. Oh, it's genuinely like a fucking fictionist villain, horrendous.
It's like just planting the drug used to kill him in his pocket. To have them all have that, all be men, in the same fucking area. And they're like, no, they're not unexplained. How? Well,
exactly. You'd think
sense.
that they'd connect. I don't know. That's just so bizarre to me. The police didn't put 2 and 2 together.
The next part is gonna have kind of graphic detail and description. So that one's also gonna be I don't know. I need a new adjective apart from horrific, horrendous, and
heavy.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah. Barbaric.
Barbarics. Yeah.
Let's travel over. arrived.
God, I love it here.
So what has made you smile this week?
I think it's pretty obvious what made me smile this week. Made me smile and also made me sad.
Matt Murdock.
Episode 1 and 2 of Daredevil Born Again. Yeah, no, absolutely. I really enjoy it. I've seen loads of tweets inevitably being like, but it's not the same as the original. Look at the fucking the lighting. Yeah, it's not gonna be the same as the original, but it's decent so far. So get a fucking grip.
People actually talking about the lighting.
People are talking about the cinematography and everything. Which, to be fair,
God, I can't.
but the original series does look fucking stunning. It is a very nice looking show.
Gorgeous.
But gorgeous, spectacular lighting display. But also, like, Born Again doesn't look like shit. Yeah, there's some wonky CGI. Yeah, when he does some sort of flips, he's like, a bit rubbery. But that's just, that was going to happen when it came to Disney, when it came in fully into the MCU. And like a new team has come onto it. But overall, I'm really happy with the show. Yes, I mean, okay, spoiler alert for episode 1 of Daredevil Born Again. Obviously, Foggy dying is a big what the fuck. Although,
oh God, I mean, I knew that before we even fucking press play.
So did I. I mean, I didn't know for a fact, but it was pretty much confirmed in my head that it was going to happen.
I remember you messaged group chat and you were like, oh, like I've been off Twitter all day, and I was like, I'll just have a look. What's the worst that can happen? I searched Daredevil. The first 2 words I see is Foggy's dead, and I'm like, oh right, that's enough for today. Then
you have no one to blame but yourself though, because at that point it had been out for like 12 hours. So
was it?
Yeah. It came out like 2 in the morning.
Oh, I thought it came out. Oh, because it was like midnight in US.
That was like 9 p.m. in the US.
Oh, the jammy bastards.
I know, fuckers. So killing off Foggy at the start, major. What the fuck? Although I don't think he's dead.
But I do love the Fogster.
Yeah, we love a bit of Franklin. I don't think he's dead. The season is definitely going to be like a Frankenstein's monster, in that it's 2 sort of creative teams putting together one season of a show. So it might be a bit wonky places, but overall, it made me smile a lot. The Devil at Hell's Kitchen's back after 7 years, and I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, I remember looking at your face and just thinking, oh my God, you're so happy right now.
It was that first shot when he fully got the suit on for the first time and he landed in front of that church and it went da, da, dun, 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 dun,
I have no recollection.
Oh, I've seen it like 5 times already. Oh, it's so
really?
sick, man. Not the show, but like clips of it, yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, oh my God, where have you had the time?
No, but I think I will rewatch it before episode 3. Anyway, that's enough about what made me smile, because again, this is not a fucking Daredevil podcast, although it essentially is, the amount we fucking talk about that show. Anyway. What made you smile?
Well, yesterday I went to go and see Sabrina Carpenter, which was
Sab's Carps.
Fantastical. Yeah, that was great. However, just to dampen the mood just a little bit, my loves. Oh my God, I wore my Doc Martens. I had not worn them in, and by the end of the night, I was walking around like I had been in some sort of fatal accident. It was horrendous. Like, seriously, the mammoth-sized blisters I have on the back of my, the back of my foot is quite gruesome, to be honest, quite horrific. But we were standing, and yeah, it was great. It was just magical, to be honest.
Magical. It's weird because I've seen videos of it all over Twitter, like the tour she did in America. She's taking the fucking world by storm, that girl. She's bloody...
Oh, she is.
She's raking it in. But like, I didn't realise you were such a big fan. And then like when I saw it, the videos that you posted and whatever, I thought, fucking how weird. I've seen all of this sort of like shit before on Twitter. Now someone that I know is currently there.
Well, you like Read Your Mind.
I do like Read Your Mind. Read Your Mind is a banger.
I remember you sent me that and I was like...
Read your mind. Yeah, no, it's a really cool, like, funky chorus. Gets your head bopping back and forth, you know?
Yeah, I prefer emails. Can't send that album to a new album, but...
I've got nothing to comment on that. I like that song. I listened to...
that song.
I like that song. I do by Sabrina Carpenter. I like... there's another one. It's like Fast something.
Fast Times.
Yeah. I was in Five Guys the other day, and that was playing. And I was like, this sounds alright. And then I played it the other day, and I was like, oh, it's actually just fine.
Yeah, that's from the same album.
Yeah, no, it's alright. Espresso's a bit of a bop, though. I know it's obviously the popular one, but bit of a tune.
I don't really listen to that one. I don't really like to listen to one that everyone listens to. I'm so quirky.
Yeah, Lois is wow quirky, man. The Quirkster on Quirkville.
Just so different.
She lives at number 1 Quirk Street.
I'm the landlord for all the houses on Quirk Street.
She fucking owns. She's the mayor of Quirk Town.
Oh my god, I can hear my laugh. I presume your eardrums are literally about to blow up.
Honestly, when you laugh like that, it's a fucking chaos. Are we doing song recommendations, or was that just a last week thing?
I was thinking about this. I am unsure as to what one to recommend to the girlies.
I'm going to quickly jump on my Spotify now and pick one at random.
As am I. Because I want one that's not like... I mean, last week I did Can I Call You Tonight? That is genuinely one of my top songs of all time. But I don't know if that is that well known, so I want to pick ones that aren't that. My number one on repeat on Spotify is Defying Gravity Edit, because, I mean, motherfucker.
Move on, man. Move on.
I can't. Dang, I can't. I can't.
Here's a fun one for you. So my song of the week is a bit of a weird one. I'm just going on my Spotify and thought, I'll pick a random song. It's Obla Di Obla Da from the hit movie Yesterday, where basically the guy... Life goes on, la. Yeah, but I've got a thing about this, right? I hate the Beatles. Don't like them with a passion. I think they're shit. Watched the film yesterday. I didn't watch a film yesterday. I watched the film.
I didn't know they had a film.
Listen, I watched a film called Yesterday, which is about the Beatles.
Oh.
But it's about a guy who gets in a car crash or whatever, wakes up, and everyone's forgot the Beatles but him. So he becomes the Beatles.
Oh my god, what the actual fuck in the parallel universe is going on?
It's a banger. It's a really good film. So I hate the Beatles, but I like the Beatles that he sings.
Right.
If that makes sense. His versions of the Beatles songs I like. The OG versions I don't like. So
it's
my
giving
song...
Glee.
Oh, big time. My song of the week is Obla Di Obla Da by Himesh Patel. Enjoy that.
My song of the week, I said this last week off air. My song of the week, girlies, is... Do you remember what I said it was going to be?
No.
My song of the week is Father Quinn from season 1 finale of Mrs. Brown's Boys.
Oh.
Seriously, my loves, you get that tune on 6 a.m. while you're on your way to work and you will feel alive.
When we rediscovered that song, that was honestly one of the funniest moments of my life.
Oh my god, it's just absolutely iconic.
I felt the memories flooding back the second.
Yeah, I remember we were trying to figure it out, and you just went, he put his hands up in the air, and I was like, God, Daniel, you're right. He did put his hands up in the air,
and he said a little prayer. I never seen the light before. Granddad's back from next door. What? Granddad's back from next door.
Death's Door, Daniel. Death's Door. From Father Quinn.
Anyway.
He resurrected him.
Anyway, banger.
That's my song of the week, my love. So you go listen to that. Seriously, I listened to that at 6 o'clock in the morning on my way to work, and I'm literally bopping down the M6.
It's a good, funny little pick-me-up.
I mean, Mrs. Brown's Boys, though, is absolute dog shit, but that song is just gold.
No, genuinely, yeah, I fully agree. The show's absolute fucking horseshit.
Don't get me started on it. The movie.
Mrs. Brown's Boys, the movie, is honestly one of the worst things I've watched in my life.
And it's also incredibly, not incredibly as in good, but incredibly deeply racist. It's just insane how that was allowed to be put in cinemas. It's just fucking wild.
Brendan O'Carroll loves a risky joke. Too much.
A racist joke.
Too
much.
But
then it's not even funny. So it's just fucking
it's just fucking what a shit show.
It's just a piece of fucking shit.
Fuck you, man.
I mean, yeah. Yes, that's my song of the week, love. So you go enjoy that. We're going to go record part 2. Ta-ta-bye. Go then, do the outro.
Okay, and that's it for today's episode. Hope you did enjoy, and if you did, please feel free to leave us a rating. That would be lovely. Also,
cheers,
if you do want to, you can follow us on our socials. That's just the Instagram and the TikTok. We are Choosing the Bear on Instagram and Choosing the Bear Pod on TikTok. Thanks again for listening. See you next week.
Thanks, girlies. Ta-ta, bye-bye.
Bye.